Hello and welcome to Coach's Decision, a weekly talk show where we talk sports from the Bay Area and beyond. My name is Thomas Todd. Returning from a long trip, Coach's Decision is his Chinese democracy. It's Joaquin Nagel.
Hey, Thomas.
What's up, dude?
Oh, it's good to be back.
Oh my goodness, I almost couldn't live without you.
I was scouting talent, man.
You know how much Daniel Zarchi I had to put up with last couple weeks?
I apologize to the listeners.
Well, we're going to have Danny back today to talk a little baseball because there's some hot stove heating up, and Danny looks best by a stove. He's a bigger guy. We'll talk about that later. My skinny guy in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
You wiry? Is that
wiry?
Wiry. Okay.
Wiry. Svelte.
He's wiry. He's svelte. We're going to talk basketball because there's a lot of stuff going on in the NBA right now.
Let's do it.
Warriors 20-0.
20-0.
They just won. They beat Charlotte. Steph Curry went for 28 in the third quarter.
Steph Curry always puts on a show when he goes back to Charlotte and play in front of his hometown fans.
Well, it was Del Curry night, so Del Curry's at the game, wearing his bucket low, wearing his jersey, looking good.
Yeah.
Halftime ceremony.
Steph comes out early from the locker room to be part of the ceremony.
Hits a couple of threes in the first quarter, no big deal. Warriors build a little bit of a lead.
Distributes. He hasn't been going off in the first half quite so much recently in the last 5-6 games.
They honor Del Curry at half. He's Mr. Hornet. They give him the key to the city. I don't know.
He's beaten out Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, and Alonzo Mourning for Mr. Hornet, or Jamal Mashburn.
Well, the problem is a lot of those guys had so many defining moments with other teams.
Yeah.
Like Larry Johnson had some moments with the Knicks.
Zoe with the Heat.
Muggsy Bogues in Space Jam.
Muggsy Bogues
with the Monstars.
every team.
Muggsy Bogues and Larry Johnson with the Monstars. It's a lot of Hornets on the Monstars.
Oh, yeah. They were popular back in the 90s. They had the look, the starter jacket. Who didn't have a Hornets starter jacket? Come on.
Is starter even still a company?
Throwback company only.
I think they're closed
I think
down.
they came back just to remake the starter jacket.
That's awesome. There's so much money in the world. What were we talking? Oh, yeah, after the halftime ceremony, Curry comes out, scores 28 points in the third quarter, finishes the game 14 of 18 shooting.
Yes.
Most guys don't make that from the free throw line.
And what, 8 of 11?
8 of 11. And 2 of those were from deep.
Pull-ups from 30 feet.
I think...
Not even catch and shoot, late clock, nothing like that, just pull up.
We always call them by mistake Bob and Fitz, but Jim and Fitz, Jim Barnett and Fitz. I think Jim Barnett said that he took a couple of those shots from Winston-Salem. Because,
of course.
Local color guys.
Oh, yeah.
Always the most entertaining. So what's your prognosis at this point? 20-0, still a couple games left on the road trip. Where do they have to get by the All-Star break to get to Michael Jordan at 72-10?
I don't even think talking about 72-10 is worthwhile right now.
But no one's ever won 20 in a row
to start
a
the season.
No one's ever done it.
No.
Those Bulls
were
like, 32-2, 35-2,
33-2, I think.
Somewhere in the 30s and 2. So the Warriors still have some work to do.
Yeah. Even having won 20 games in a row, they would still have to win at something like a 66-game pace for the rest of the year in order to get there.
And that's what they did last year, though.
They did. They did 67 last year, and they're better than they were last year. But I mean, maybe set your sights on beating last year's record. Just compete against yourselves. And once you're sufficiently far into the season, maybe it's the All-Star break and you're well ahead of your pace from last year. Maybe then you start talking about 70 wins.
Can you talk about, because you're my X's and O's guys.
Yeah.
I see stuff. I can't always verbalize it because I don't understand the game as well as you do and the terminology. Can you verbalize for me what's going on with Harrison Barnes out and Brandon Rush in the starting lineup? What are they doing differently, or are they just relying on Brandon Rush to be like a 75% of Harrison Barnes?
Well, what they're doing differently is they can't be quite as frantically switching, and they have to change their rotations afterwards. Their starting lineup is relatively the same because they still have Bogut and Green to defend the post, but they can't go, their smaller lineups are less reliable. Because one of the big things about their small lineup, their death lineup, is that Green and Harrison can both defend larger guys.
5s and 4s, respectively.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And they don't really have any replacement for a small ball 4. Iguodala isn't a small ball 4. He can't defend guys in the low post.
And he never really could. He's always been a perimeter defender.
Perimeter guy.
A big perimeter defender, but
long and quick, gets a lot of deflections, can guard spots 1 through 3, but guarding the 4 spot, really the Warriors don't have a replacement for Barnes.
It's not Spates.
It's not Mo, but people are trying to criticize Walton for playing Mo Spates at the 4, right? Because he played with Azili a bunch this game, and he played with Bogut a bunch last game, and the lineups don't look great. But really, Walton needs to find time at the backup 4, because Harrison Barnes is essentially the backup power forward for the Warriors.
Let's try Sean Livingston at the backup 4. He's tall and versatile.
No, right, because the Warriors rotation, when they take out Bogut and they take out Green, they put in Festus Ezeli. They play with Harrison Barnes at the 4 and Iggy at the 3.
Absolutely.
Right, and then Clay at the 2 and Livingston at the 1, and that's sort of one of their first rotations.
Can you give me a brief preview of, because I'm really interested, I need to look at the schedule and see when they play the Spurs. What do you think is going to go down between the Spurs and Warriors? Because that's really looking like the class of the league, and that looks like if it happens in the playoffs, which it's for some reason didn't last year, that looks like it's going to be the matchup, maybe even more so than the finals.
Yeah, and the Spurs have still been a bugaboo for the Warriors over the past few years. Even though the Warriors are now a good team, the first time they beat the Spurs at home at all in the regular season was, I believe, the 2013 regular season.
When they just started to get good.
And then last year, the Spurs beat the Warriors at home. I think they beat them twice last year. And really the difficulty the Spurs present is that both Kawhi Leonard and Danny Green are elite perimeter defenders.
So they're going to throw those guys on Clay and Steph, and so it's really going to come down to how they switch off Curry on screens and whether they can guard those corner threes.
Well, also it really comes down to how the new look offense for the Dubs, where Draymond Green initiates a lot of the offense, how that comes against the Spurs and how successful that can be against the Spurs.
Does Aldridge guard Draymond?
Yeah, that's the thing the Warriors are doing now, is they're running so much of the offense through Draymond that it hurts teams that play two traditional bigs even more. And that's what the Spurs do with Duncan and Aldridge.
Well, and if they waste a lot of his energy on defense, if Draymond can get him running around and moving around a lot, that's going to hurt his ability to score.
Exactly. And but the Spurs are using Aldridge more as a catch and shoot player than actually dumping the ball into him in the low post.
Okay.
So it's going to be interesting to see what happens during the regular season and see how Pop approaches that, because Popovich is notorious for hiding his hand and not really showing what he can do with his team until the playoffs.
Well, he's very revealing in his mid-quarter interviews.
Oh, exactly.
So, he has to hold something back. I want to see him get really emotional during one, like start to break down.
I want to see him
Tim
just
Duncan's
recite a nonsensical poem. Just
or
completely go all in.
Beowulf.
Yeah, and just I have an answer for you, J.A. and just pulls out his little book.
He starts
humming along
from Mao Zedong's little red book. Communist proverbs.
Oh my goodness.
All right, speaking of communists, Kobe Bryant of the Los Angeles Lakers.
The most popular player in China.
It's not Yao.
No.
It's not Allen Iverson.
Kobe.
Is Marbury still over there?
Yeah, Old Horse. That's his nickname.
I heard Greg Oden is having a second career over there.
Yeah, he had over 20 rebounds in his first debut.
How high is the basket? Like 8 feet?
It's unclear.
So Kobe's retiring. He decided to announce this mid-season, which was strange. But he says he's known the whole time. Do you believe him?
Oh, yeah.
You believe that he's known the whole year?
Oh, of course. How else is he going to have that logo ready? He had a logo for his retirement letter. He had a retirement letter he gave out to everyone in the stands, and it had a logo that was like with a H and a V mixed together, because his whole letter was about how he's both a hero and a villain.
Oh my God, it was like embossed. Oh,
yeah, and you think he decided 2 days before he got all of those printed for the guys at Staples?
Well, the reason I think that he didn't decide yet was because he didn't have a last go in Madison Square Garden. He did it right before the Philly game on the road, his hometown, so, they could have some pomp and circumstance there.
And right after the Warriors game, where he shot 1 for 14.
Right. It just seems
atrocious.
it seems like weird timing. I mean, he was always shooting 30% from the field and 20% from 3.
Oh, yeah. And his PER is under 10. He has a PER
I have
of 9.
a 12. I'm rocking a 12 from this chair right here. So it's like the SATs. When you write your name, they give you 200 points. They give you a 10 PER just for taking the court, Kobe.
Exactly.
We know his legacy is second best shooting guard behind Jordan.
Yeah.
Borderline top 10 all-time player. 5
borderline.
championships.
Well, he's behind Duncan and LeBron, who are in the league currently.
But LeBron only has 2 titles.
Okay.
Is that not?
But how many? I think LeBron has 2 titles, and LeBron is also the best player on a team that made it to the finals. so many more times than Kobe. Kobe was the best player on 3 teams in the finals, and LeBron was the best player on 5.
He's been in the finals 5 times?
6.
6 times?
6 times.
They got beat by Dallas?
No, you're forgetting the Cavs got beat by the Spurs in 07.
I was going in reverse order without counting the Warriors. No. Don't tell me what I'm thinking. Get out of my head, Joaquin. Is this Chinese technology you've brought back?
Yes.
Okay.
Implants.
All right, well, let's go through it. The 2 titles he won.
Yeah.
Lost to the Warriors. Lost to the Spurs.
And lost to the Spurs again.
Lost to the Spurs twice.
Okay. And then lost to Dallas.
And then lost to Dallas. Okay, so he has been to 6 finals.
And he's the best player on all of those teams.
Okay, Kobe's been to 6 finals and won more championships.
Kobe's been to 6 finals, won 5 titles, won Finals MVP twice.
With the Shaq
same
Daddy.
as LeBron.
With the Shaq
but
Daddy.
was the best player on his team. Actually, sorry, Kobe's been to 7 finals.
Because of Shaq.
But he's.
Is my Shaq impression any good? Should I keep doing it?
I love it. You could do the rest of the show as Shaq.
I have been compared to a cactus.
Have you compared yourself to Greek philosophers?
I'm Sophocles. Or wait, he was a playwright. I'm not going to do this right now.
Okay. But I believe that LeBron is past Kobe in terms of all-time greats.
Okay.
And Duncan's ahead of Kobe, and then you have at least 5 other guys you can name quickly off the top of your head. But I'll probably put him in the 15 to 10 range.
Okay, and
I don't think he breaks the top 10.
What are you most excited to see from Kobe the rest of the year? Like, is there a particular stop you'd be excited about? Is there the last home game?
I was excited that tonight he went off. Tonight he went off and had a great duel with John Wall, scored over 30 points. They beat the Wizards on the road. It's great for Kobe,
But before he went off, and this is our transition, he lost to the Philadelphia 76ers.
He did. He lost to the team that had set the high watermark for futility in American professional sports.
You can say, the Warriors win streak doesn't count because the playoffs were in there and they lost some games, so you can't carry over those extra games from last season. Philly doesn't have that problem.
No, not at all.
There were no games.
Did they win a preseason game?
We'd have to look, but there were no games in May or June for Philadelphia.
Summer League? The Vegas Summer League games?
Did those guys even qualify for Summer League? Or were they playing?
They got relegated out of the Summer League.
They were playing in Turkey. They're in the Drew League. Playing with Jalen Rose. So the Sixers finally got on the board, 1-18. It was nice to have that mirror image of the Warriors' success and the Sixers' failure. But I'm kind of glad it's over.
Yeah, we're going to hear less about it now. Now they can just go about losing by 20 points to the Knicks and no one will care.
But, of course, right as that happens, Jahlil Okafor
went crazy.
He went absolutely crazy. And not for one day. Not like Ron Artest crazy, where he just snaps and becomes a different person for 10 minutes, and then fallout from that lasts years and years and years.
Oh, he's getting in street fights.
2 fights. Got caught driving 108 miles an hour. He's now getting the Des Bryant treatment and needs full-time security.
Yeah.
Years ago, the Cowboys hired 24/7 security for Des Bryant.
Yeah, but that's just
to
so...
tell him,
it's so reporters wouldn't ask him if his mother was a prostitute.
Oh, that too. I guess that's true. But it's just like... why do you need 24/7 security?
But he's been suspended for 2 games, and it's interesting that they suspended him right after they had their best chance of winning. I'm just saying.
It snowballed at the right time. I don't think you can really say anything.
I think all those stories were out right before that game against the Lakers. I think they could have gotten that suspension out there a little earlier.
Okay, I'm going to make a huge mistake because we're going to take a call. We've got Jerry from Felton. Remember, Jerry, keep it clean. How are you doing, sir?
Hey, good. You guys took my call before I told you how much money I made last year.
Right, about Andre Iguodala. You were so excited about him.
Dude, it's me. So here's the deal.
Yeah.
I bet Brady streaked in, and that won huge last week. Here you go. Next game, guy. Here's my big pick.
Okay.
The Warriors, they can't do it. They can't sustain one more win.
You don't think they're going to win their next game?
Well, it's odds. It's the odds, boys. And you know what? I have not lost in 25 years. You want to make some money? You take the money line on this one. You guys go all the way.
All right.
Okay, Jerry from Felton, California. You know what I would do if I hadn't lost in 25 years? I'd move out of Felton, California.
Oh, goodness. I don't know. Some people really like the San Lorenzo Valley. You got the swimming holes. Maybe he's a train enthusiast. He loves Roaring Camp.
You know what we have to say about Jerry on this show? Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Jerry.
He's a very consistent listener. He's been with us since the beginning, and he came on to give us positive vibes and try to make us some money.
Are they playing the Nets next? Is that correct?
We should have asked Jerry. He seems to know.
No, but to be fair, they also lost on the road to the Nets last year.
Mm-hmm. Jarrett Jack hit a game winner.
Jarrett Jack hit a game winner. Also, the Nets almost beat them this year.
That's true.
So this could be a trap game. This is
okay.
Jerry could be onto something here. Saying.
We're gonna do this for Jerry.
They're not gonna stay undefeated forever.
You know what we're gonna do for Jerry right now?
What's that?
We're gonna make some money.
Okay.
Because you should go down to 99 Bottles in downtown Santa Cruz on Walnut Avenue between Pacific and Cedar, and pay them a visit and pay them some money because they will provide you some wonderful services: the food, the drinks, some trivia, some sports, nice little patio. You can see the people walking down the street, throw rocks at them. There's no rocks available. Bring your own rocks. But order the chicken Philly. That's my favorite dish with the waffle fries. Joaquin, what was your dish?
Fish and chips.
Fish and chips.
Yeah,
oh my
snapper
goodness.
Fish and chips.
Here's the
with
thing
waffle
about
fries.
fish and chips. There's a very low bar for fish and chips being delicious, but when they're done absolutely right, like they are at 99, they're so good.
Oh, they're so good. The batter has the right texture. It's the right consistency. The fish is well cooked. They never serve it cold. It's wonderful.
And the chips, man.
The chips are
Let
great.
them fall where they may, down your gullet. And also down your gullet a few beverages. Thank you to 99 Bottles. Once again, downtown on Walnut in Santa Cruz. Now is the time when Joaquin tries to think of even one baseball thing that he knows, which I'm not sure if he's going to be able to do.
I got one.
You got one?
Kobe playing this season is akin to Willie Mays stumbling around the outfield for the Mets.
Okay.
There you go.
Fair enough.
Baseball thing.
Fair enough. Okay, we're going to bring on Daniel Zarchi, my college buddy who is a huge Giants fan and a huge baseball nerd. He's on Twitter at GiantsPod. If you want to hear about his personal life, you should follow him on Twitter. If you want to hear him talk about baseball, you should listen to him on this show. Danny, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty well, man. How you doing?
You are employed.
I am employed.
You are employable, and you are employed.
I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited. And, now that means that you and I can take time off to do this show full time.
Of course, obviously. Some other men who are employed, possibly Barry Bonds?
Yeah.
Tell me about this, because I'm confused.
So, a lot of people are confused. Now, Barry Bonds seems to have agreed in theory, or in
principle, at least, yeah.
With the Miami Marlins to be one of their two hitting coaches. So they're going to have two. He'll be the second one. The internet is a buzz with opinions about it.
So I'm confused because he's been a special consultant during spring training for the San Francisco Giants for the last 2 seasons, and that seemed to go fine. Would it be just too much of a problem for him to be in that dugout in San Francisco? Because the way it's shaking out in Miami is he's not going to have to be in the dugout all the time. He can be in and out because that's kind of his personality. He kind of checks in and checks out. He doesn't really want to do the whole baseball grind.
Are they going to put a recliner in the dugout?
The lazy boy with the microwave?
Yeah, if not, I don't see him sitting down there anytime soon. I don't see Barry Bonds putting on a uniform.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. Do you think he'll be like Mark McGwire, like in the dugout as the hitting instructor?
Well, I just have no idea because you'd think, what everybody, I think, thought was that if Barry really wanted to be back in baseball, and the Giants had indicated that they were willing to kind of admit, be seen with him in public once again. Right?
It's like that girlfriend that you dated that all your friends hated. You guys broke up, but then you got back together, but you're just waiting to tell your friends because you're not sure what to do because they're all going to be mad at you, and you just want to delay that as long as possible. Is that what the Giants are doing?
Well, yeah. So they went through they kind of avoided Barry while he was in court and, guilty of obstruction of justice.
Semi-guilty. He was semi-guilty.
Well, he was guilty of that. He was basically guilty of like a long rambling answer to a grand jury question.
Well, Danny, you look who's on the phone with me right now.
Is that better than asking what the definition of the word is
or whatever?
We never got an answer to that.
We didn't. It's true. Can you find that out now that you're a lawyer?
What is the answer to that?
Oh, my goodness. What is? I don't want to hear what is anymore. Bad Jeopardy memories.
But then, after that, after he won his appeal, or kind of before then too, but after the major negative publicity died down, the Giants started bringing him back into the fold. He'd show up at AT&T Park for games, and they'd put him on the big screen and put him on the TV, and everyone was happy he was there. And he came and met the he'd meet the rookies in spring training, and then, as you said, kind of more and more actually assuming some sort of role as a consultant. And so, I, for one, and I think a lot of people thought that naturally if he was going to be in some sort of managerial position, it would be for the Giants. But
yeah, if you
so
can
this
look,
kind of came out of nowhere.
If you can look at the list of Giants employees, look at their special instructors. It's guys like J.T. Snow. It's guys like Sean Dunston
is their replay wizard.
Right, and Will Clark pops in and out. Giants really care about having their players around and giving them even nominal jobs. I don't know how much J.T. Snow actually contributes to on-the-field stuff, but he's an icon, and sometimes it's nice to just have icons around. I don't understand why he's going to be an icon in Miami or what it's going to mean to Marlins fans.
Well, Matt Williams manages elsewhere.
That's
it's
fine,
not
but
like every Giant.
That's a proactive role where he's trying to win championships as the everyday manager.
But maybe Barry's trying to become an everyday hitting coach.
That's ridiculous. He has expressed that he never wants to do the grind again.
Mm-hmm.
The grind was too much for him. He cannot focus on one thing anymore. He just doesn't have it in him.
Maybe he just needs to be closer to the Dominican Republic and, the sources of all that Alex Rodriguez stuff.
He's so thin now that there is no way he's doing any of that stuff.
Of course not.
And I remember when
just a Miami
when
joke.
he first came back and they were interviewing Barry Bonds, the first Barry Bonds interview anyone's seen in a couple of years. How much do you weigh now, Barry? Like 185, 190.
Like back in his Pittsburgh days.
Yeah. Barry, how'd you get so thin? Riding my bike a lot. Like he was a courier.
Is his head smaller?
I believe you mean he went cycling.
He went cycling, I'm sorry. He did say cycling. What a poor word choice. God. Oh, okay. Well, let's go away from Barry, as we've been trying to do as a franchise for years.
What's just interesting is, you see this, you see the internet, and you've got opinions ranging from Grant saying, this sucks, but I'm glad, happy for Barry that he's getting back into the game, to the Chronicle that's basically just confused as to why he didn't come to the Giants, and then you've got, Jeff Patton at Yahoo saying that basically Barry and Jeffrey Loria are going to kill each other before the year is out, and then you've got some Chicago writers saying Miami should be ashamed of offering Barry Bonds a coaching job and referencing the smoking syringes in his
Get
past.
out. If you're going to write that, get out.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking for clicks. I get it. I guess someone has to take that position, but everyone deserves to have a chance at a job, and you can't juice as a hitting instructor. There's no way to cheat doing that. So keep him out of the Hall of Fame, but you can't keep him out of Major League Baseball. All right, we need to put a pin in that because I have a couple signings to ask you about. The Giants are not going to get Jordan Zimmerman. The Giants are not going to get David Price.
There's still a chance. There's still a chance.
They could trade for him. Zimmerman's going to make $22 million a year, 5 years, $110. David Price is going to make $7 for $217 average contract, $31 million. Did either of these teams get a good deal?
I think that, what's a good deal, first of all? But second of all, I think Fangraphs released an article right after the Jordan Zimmerman trade that basically said, okay baseball team signs okay pitcher to okay contract.
It sounds like an Onion article.
And essentially, they projected out his wins above replacement and projected out the dollar per wins above replacement and what it's going to be 6 years from now or 5 years from now. And basically, it's exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
So they're essentially paying almost to the dollar what they're projecting him to be worth.
So that's a good deal then.
Yeah. So, if you...
Well, it's not a steal, but it's a deal.
It's not a steal, but also you look at every other contract, basically, and it comes with it the assumption that the last 3 years are dead money.
Right, and that's what I liked about this deal was it was only 5 seasons. David Price, 7? These guys are 30 or turning 30 before the next season. 5 years isn't bad. There are a lot of pretty good 35-year-old starting pitchers still. Yeah, the problem is that Jordan Zimmerman had a significantly worse season this year. Yeah, I get that. Previously, and so that's why I think, obviously these three guys are not getting the same amount of money, but that's why as, a fan of a team that was looking to sign a top-end starter, he was not my favorite or a guy who I'd be willing to pay nearly as much as these other guys. Yeah, he's above Cueto for me, below Price. and definitely below
I put him
Greinke.
below Cueto. But.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just like your opinion, man. My thing about Jordan Zimmerman, he started 32 or more games each of the last 4 seasons. I like that he shows up. That's really important for me with a frontline starting pitcher. I can't have
which
any.
is why you don't like Cueto.
Which is why I don't like Cueto. He's not always there. You know, David Price deal, that's ridiculous. I have no idea how that's going to work out. I'm just going to toss that one aside because I think the Red Sox are paying for the Cy Young votes because he's not that much better than Zimmerman, and he's definitely not better than Greinke.
What's going to be really interesting is, you look down the line, and they're already paying, let's look at 2018, for example, and they're paying our old friend Pablo Sandoval $18.6 million. They're paying Hanley Ramirez $22.75 million. They're paying Pedroia $16 million. They're paying Rick Porcello $21 million.
Oh God, that deal's gonna look so horrible.
Never made sense.
And it already looks horrible.
That deal looked awful the minute they signed it. They're paying Rusney Castillo almost $12 million, and he has yet to take a productive at bat in the majors. But he's kind of not a bust yet, like Hanley already is. And then you add on, what was it, $31 million a year?
Yeah, 31 average annual value.
So you've got over $100 million, significantly over $100 million already locked up, 3 years from now by 4 guys. And then, there's the whole rest of the team. And there's a decent chance that they're going to command some salaries too.
So Greinke's choosing between the Giants and the Dodgers. He has the best numbers. He's also the oldest. Do you think we land him? Do you think he goes back to L.A.? What happens here?
I mean, as a Giants fan, you kind of have to assume that we're not going to, because we never do.
We got Zito.
Well, yeah. So
it's like going 1 for 10 and hitting the one thing that doesn't matter.
Yeah, 1 for 10, and the one home run was an Eugenio Velez home run when we're already down 10-1 in the ninth.
Yep, sounds about right.
Which is ironically,
but also causes you to lose the next.
Eugenio Velez hit his 3 home runs.
Also causes you to lose the next 417 games.
Right, and so and they're saying that that Greinke is basically asking for price money, but over 6 years instead of over 7.
Which gets him to almost 39.
Value, into the mid-30s, mid-30 millions. And so, the first question is that crazy? And the second question is, what's crazy anymore? Because, there's TV money, continues to roll in, continues to get higher. Teams are willing to pay the luxury tax. The luxury tax is obviously not a deterrent to overspending. So, have teams just realized that, World Series kind of pay for everything? I don't really know.
Well, they do, and also, there's owners like the owner in Detroit, Mike Ilitch, who's going to die soon. That's kind of morbid, but he's very, very old and has lots and lots of money.
You also have to ask yourself how many of these teams are maybe just not even approaching this as a money-making venture completely, right? Are all of these teams their primary businesses, or are they more a luxury item?
And that, like I mentioned, Mike Ilitch, he owns Little Caesars Pizza. That is his business. His teams that he owns obviously both make money, but if he broke even and won championships, I'm sure he'd be a happy camper.
Yeah.
I also don't think that, I just don't believe that that's true. That I don't think teams are losing money.
Oh, no, they're absolutely not. They're absolutely not.
Teams are making an unbelievable amount of money. And
yeah, how many Panda hats do you own, Danny?
I don't own any, but I think we have a few in the family. But if they sign a really big player, it's not going to come out of the owner's pocket. It's going to come out, it's going to show up in the beer prices and the ticket prices. And the Giants saw their payroll skyrocket. We kind of complain about them not spending on people, but you think back to when their payroll was about $100 million, in 2010. And now they're looking at a payroll that's significantly higher than that.
Well, Danny, you always told me what's your fantasy? When do you know you've made it in life?
when I can afford to get drunk at a ball game.
Well, I think you can do that now, and so can all of these gentlemen. Another place you can afford to get drunk, Danny, is Woodstock's Pizza. And we're going to jump into our NFL pick segment.
We have proof that that's true, actually.
We have proof that that's true, me more recently than you. Woodstock's Pizza in downtown Santa Cruz, 6 other locations across California, all in college towns. They all have the NFL Sunday Ticket, which is fantastic. I love being able to watch every single game, moseying around the room as all the games are ending, and having the Red Zone channel on one of the TVs. It's a lot of fun. Great beer selection, great pizza, chicken wings. The wild bread is world famous. At least if Woodstock's ever shipped anything overseas. I don't think they have yet. But a wonderful company and our sponsors. Please go watch sports there. Go hang out. Pint night, trivia night. They have lots of cool events that they do. All right, Tory, you need to update us on where we are. I know Joaquin has about 7 wins on the year because he's been gone for most of this millennia.
Oh, I have stats.
Oh, you have stats now?
I have stats.
So I think I went 3-3 last week.
You went...
Or 3-4, something like that.
Now I have to pull that up.
You said you had stats. I asked for a stat.
I'm sorry. I had the other stats.
The other stats? Oh, my.
Yeah, you went 3-3.
Nailed it.
Me and Danny went 2-4.
See? Gaining games every week. Joaquin, another 0-0. Another Luke Walton. Putting up Luke Walton.
Give me that coach of the month.
All of them bye weeks, he does have a 48.8% win percentage.
That's almost half.
Almost.
So I went through and did a breakdown of how we've all done prime time versus wild card.
Because I'm awful on Monday
and
nights.
Thursdays, Sundays, and Monday nights.
I'm excellent at prime time.
I'm terrible at Thursdays.
Yeah, you are terrible at Thursday night games, Joaquin. You have 1 win from the Thursday night games. Thomas has 2 wins from Monday night games.
Yeah, see, I know this without even actually keeping track of it. I just know how miserable I am on Monday nights.
My favorite stat, Joaquin has 6 wins on Monday night games. He's only done picks for 8 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. You should bet some money.
Me, you, and Danny are okay on Thursday nights. They're our strongest with 7.
I always start
Sunday
off with
night
a bang.
games, Danny and I are at 50%. We've got 6 wins.
And what's the wild cards like?
The wild cards, Danny and I have the most with 16 out of 24 wild card games. You've got 14 and Joaquin has 12.
12 out of 16?
Games. Yeah, 12 out of 16, yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's really good.
That's betting.
That's actually fantastic. We're going to have to get you back in on these picks. You said you made some. Feel free to throw them out as we go through them. I'm actually going to... last couple weeks we picked every game. There were some more playoff relevant teams. This week there's some games where neither team's going to make the playoffs. And if you guys bet on those games, feel free to give out your garbage line and your garbage pick. But we'll start with Thursday night where there are playoff implications. The Packers -3 over the Lions. Green Bay just 2-2 against the NFC North after last week's loss to Chicago. Matthew Stafford coming off a 5-touchdown performance. He finally realized if he throws the ball to Calvin Johnson, they will score touchdowns. I'm going to take the Packers in this one, giving the 3 points. They really, really need this game. Danny?
I'm taking the Lions +3, and actually my explanation is exactly what you just said. I don't think the Packers are that good. I think the Lions' defense is playing out of their mind, and Matthew Stafford realized that throwing to Calvin Johnson's probably the best thing they have, and it actually works.
Ziggy Ansah might be one of the best defensive ends in the league right now.
Yeah.
And his name's Ziggy.
Yeah, I think that, there's the Thursday low-scoring aspect of it, but I also think just the Lions might be better.
Okay, Tory?
I really contemplated taking the Lions, but I think that it's time for the Packers to start showing up their games, and I think they're finally going to get that memo.
If they don't win this game, they can pack it in.
Yeah, pack it in.
Thanks, Thomas.
Joaquin, anything on this game?
I'm going to go with the Packers.
Okay.
Picked them a lot, lost with them a lot, but I'm sticking with them.
So this is my chance to pick up a game on everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, Danny. All right, on to Sunday morning. Danny, your Niners getting 7 in Chicago. Do you have any thoughts on Blaine Gabbert right now? He looks kind of halfway decent.
He does look kind of halfway decent.
Which is a lot for Blaine Gabbert. People don't realize out there, they're already forgetting because they didn't watch all those Jacksonville games. He was lighting up people's feet when he was in Jacksonville. He's now hitting them somewhere near the numbers and arms.
No, Blaine Gabbert is noticeably better than he was in Jacksonville. This isn't the same guy.
Okay. Do you want to pick this game, Danny? Not even for professional purposes? What about for non-professional purposes?
For non-professional purposes, I think the Niners are going to play garbage on the road, and I would probably pick against them.
Okay. Anybody take this game? All right, moving on. Bengals-Browns, they should just cancel these games from now on. The Bengals should never play the Browns again. They should get a win every time it's scheduled, get a bye week, maybe make them run wind sprints or something in practice on the Sunday or Monday. I don't want to watch any more of these awful, awful games.
Oh, can I just say I listened to an interview with A.J. Green today, and it is the most boring interview I've ever heard. And I've met Brandon Crawford.
Well, I mean, I was going to make a joke about how AJ's still a little green when it comes to the media, but you just whooped on my joke with your Brandon Crawford humor. Oh, man, that guy is amazingly boring.
Yes.
For how handsome he is. I think when you're handsome, you don't have to be funny.
It's the John Hamm syndrome.
Yeah.
Is John Hamm?
No, it's the 30 Rock.
The 30 Rock
Oh,
episode.
yeah.
He's a terrible doctor.
But he's so handsome, no one cares.
Everyone wants me to give them tennis lessons. Terrible at tennis. He's so cute, though.
Since he's giving 10 to Austin Davis and the Browns, Johnny Manziel can't play for this team while doing a keg stand or shots or playing beer pong. Like, why can't he do that?
Has he had a relevant NFL moment this season?
Yeah. He won a game.
Okay.
He won the Cleveland Browns a game.
Okay.
Did you see how they lost on Sunday? On Monday?
Mm-hmm.
What on earth?
The kick six?
The kick. How do you do that? How do you do that? I know when you kick a 51-yard field goal or a 50-plus, you kind of have to line drive it a little bit more to get more distance on it. You can't really pop it up.
Well, the best thing about it was that I was reading something on SB Nation that showed beforehand in the play right beforehand. First, Austin Davis was running to the right and he slid to end the play like without a defender within probably 10 yards of him.
He could have picked up some more yardage.
He could have picked up like 5 or 6 more yards, run out of bounds, and given them like one more play to get closer even.
Well, it was the Tim Couch Memorial play. I think they needed one.
Instead, he just he just went for a ride and slid and they ended up having the 51-yard attempt.
He gave himself up like in a prison shower.
And the second thing I saw is that there was very clearly a Ravens player offside on the kick, and they just didn't call it at all.
Well, they don't call anything late in games. We know that from the Jacksonville-Baltimore game. All right, moving on. Jags-Titans, stop me if you've seen this game before or want to bet on it. Nope, we're going to move on from that. Oh, wait. I'm going to pick this game because the Titans should be going for the number 1 pick. Right now they have a 47% chance of the number 1 pick, according to some random stat I read on a site that didn't have a .com on it. Tank, Titans. Give me the Jaguars. They are getting 2.5 points in Tennessee. Houston at Buffalo. Texans getting 3. That makes it an even-up game, according to Vegas, if it was a neutral field. A must-win for Buffalo. Anyone care?
I'm going to do something I didn't think I'd do this season.
Take the Texans?
I'm about to take the Texans.
Woo!
Texans defense has been dominating as well as J.J. Watt can dominate, so I'm taking the points.
Okay, Danny, any thoughts?
I was really tempted because the Houston defense is playing really, really well, but I didn't feel comfortable enough that Buffalo would poop the bed. So.
Ravens, Dolphins, anyone care?
Boo.
Moving on, Seattle at Minnesota. This is a great game. It's
Pick 'em.
Pick 'em. Seahawks have led in the fourth quarter of every game this season. A win would do wonders for the 6-5 Seahawks. Wild card chances. Minnesota's still leading the NFC North at 8-3. They're 4-1 at home. Anyone want to stick with the Vikings at home? No. All right. Moving on. Joaquin, give me a pick in that game anyway.
Take the Vikings.
All right. Adrian Peterson flying up the top 10 and top 15 in rushing yards all time. It's been fun to watch. He's going to pass Frank Gore, which is kind of sad because Frank Gore's still active.
Frank Gore's on my fantasy team.
Frank Gore can't churn out 3.5 yards a carry and stay ahead of him.
Nope, he cannot.
What is it that the Colts said that Frank Gore is like beat to crap or all beat up or something like that?
I think they were talking about Andrew Luck, but
they're talking about Darren McFadden.
No, I mean, it's interesting because, obviously as a Niners fan, the Niners basically decided the Frank Gore era was over because he was getting old, because he was, less effective.
He was the Dr. Jekyll to your Carlos Hyde.
Ugh.
That's what I'm here for.
Have you read that book? Do you know anything about what that reference indicates?
No.
Or are you just going based on the Looney Tunes,
No, he's just going on the name.
And turns into a big beast.
He's just going for the puns.
League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. That's my experience with
Did
Jekyll.
you watch that?
1 million times. I've seen that movie 1 million times.
No way.
a million times. It's Sean
Why?
Connery's last movie.
It's,
fun fact.
It's absolute
Sean Connery-
garbage.
Fun
And it's so
fact,
much
Sean
worse than the
Connery-
comic.
Sean Connery passed on The Matrix because he thought it looked stupid.
Was he
And
going to be Morpheus?
He was going to be Morpheus, and Will Smith was going to be Neo.
That
Which would have been a
weird.
very different movie, as you can imagine.
Whoa.
And so afterward, Connery, basically said, "Oh, whoops, that was a bad idea," and took the next movie, which came along, which was LXG, which is an awful, awful movie. And then he retired because he admitted he didn't know anything about movies anymore.
I've seen worse movies. Carson Palmer and the Cardinals looking for some revenge against the St. Louis Rams. The Rams handed the Cards their first loss of the season. Arizona 6-point road favorites. Anyone tempted?
I was tempted to take the Rams.
Oh,
but,
really?
I'm tempted to take the Cardinals, but no.
I almost took the Cards.
Division game, home underdog, kind of like those.
I don't know if the
but-
Cardinals could recover from going 0-2 against the Rams in a season. That would be unrecoverable.
I
the
don't
Rams
think
are
the Rams
playing.
have a good defense anymore.
Okay, but that's why I didn't go.
Jeff
with it.
Fisher should be fired and banned from. He's like, NFL owners need to stop hiring Jeff Fisher, or like stop thinking he's good for like all these weird intangible reasons, because his record is terrible at this point. All right, moving on. Falcons-Bucks, a season-defining game in the NFC South, which means nothing for anyone. Falcons are 1-5 in their last 6. Bucks won 3 of their last 5. Tampa giving 2. Somebody picked this game.
I got word through the grapevine that Andrew took Tampa.
Andrew never takes Tampa. Andrew always bets against Tampa because he became a fan because they never won a game. Moving on, battle for New Jersey. Giants getting 2 against the Jets. Tori, what Eli Manning shows up this week? Is it stand-up comedian Eli Manning? Is it NFL quarterback Eli Manning? DirecTV Eli Manning?
God, Eli is breaking my heart. He's my fantasy quarterback, and he's breaking my heart.
Well, like fantasy football or like fantasy quarterback?
He's not very handsome.
Worst part is my backup quarterback is Ryan Fitzpatrick. I could go either way with this game.
Okay. Well, make a pick, even if it doesn't count.
I'm sorry, Eli. I'd take the Jets.
I'm taking the Jets and mark it, Tory.
Mark the last 4 weeks.
Mark
for
it
him,
minus
too.
2.
Mark it 0, dude. That's what we should have said for the last few weeks.
Mark it
0.
0.
The afternoon games, the Broncos head into San Diego 4.5-point favorites. This line may be inflated by that win over New England, but the defense looks dominant, and the Chargers' offensive line are overpaid matadors.
Maybe it's also inflated by the fact that no Chargers home game is a home game.
and
Yeah,
never
I
will
picked
be
this
again.
game.
You picked this game, Danny?
Yeah, I took Broncos.
You're riding the rock of Brock.
Yeah, Brock Lobster. That's it. That's an ESPN thing. I take no credit for it.
I
But,
was going to say, we can
yeah.
do more sports B-52 songs. We can do Love Shack.
Yeah. No,
Joaquin, don't get your head on the microphone.
I basically say that the Chargers stink. They're not going to be able to stop the Broncos from scoring, but the Broncos will be able to stop the Chargers from scoring.
Okay. Chiefs road favorites by 3 in Oakland. The Raiders trying to hang on to faint playoff hopes are hovering around 5%.
And it's a rivalry game.
And it's a rivalry game. I have to pretend every Monday morning on the radio the Raiders have a chance to make the playoffs still, for the fans out there. Chiefs have won 5 straight. I'll take Kansas City given the points. They are on fuego.
Me too.
Okay. Joaquin, any pick?
No
Tori,
pick.
no pick?
It's not my official pick, but I would have taken Kansas City in
Okay.
this.
And you love Amari Cooper.
I love Amari Cooper.
Panthers.
I love AC/DC.
God, such a stupid nickname. Panthers trying to stay undefeated in New Orleans, laying 7 to a lousy Saints defense. Joaquin, your eyes have to be lighting up.
Taking the Panthers.
Why?
Cam love the kids.
Power the Panthers.
Oh, we're all going
the
Panthers.
The Saints are not only do they have a garbage defense, but they can't score either.
Yeah, they really have
Like it's a perfect recipe for losing by a touchdown.
Okay, Danny, did you pick this one?
No, I already gave my 2 wild cards.
You're so far behind. Just keep picking other games. I'll allow it. All right, we'll move on to Sunday night. Patriots 11.5 over the Eagles. Danny, can they make this line high enough?
They're certainly trying.
What did you pick?
Wait, no, this is not a primetime game.
No,
Tom.
Colts Steelers.
Oh, did I skip one?
Well, Colts Steelers.
The line isn't
because
listed
we
for
don't know
Colts
about
Steelers.
Roethlisberger.
Oh, I
So
just
it's
went
not
for
even
the
there.
last game, so I
Yeah.
assumed it was Sunday night.
Colts
Well, let's
Steelers.
pick this one instead. Since I made a pick already, now I have a distinct advantage. Danny, make a pick.
I'm going Patriots.
Patriots minus 11.5. Tori.
It'd be Patriots.
Joaquin.
I already wrote down Patriots.
Eagles in a stunner. I have it. They can make the line high enough because they did. The defense will come back. It's been gone for 2 weeks, but it's gonna come back.
What defense?
They were the second highest ranked DVOA defense in football until 2 weeks ago.
But behind the Jets?
Gosh, I hate you, Joaquin.
I missed you so much, Joaquin.
Cassius is probably out there crying, intern Cassius. Okay, so Sunday night there's no line. Maybe if there is a line published when they decide Roethlisberger is playing, we'll tweet out our picks. Monday night, Cowboys plus 4.5 against the Washington Jabronis. That's our new team name for
You missed it.
For
I
Washington. I'm going to take a confident Kirk Cousins at home to end Dallas' season. Mercifully end Dallas' season.
It's what he does.
Joaquin?
I'm taking Dallas.
You like that? You like that? Sorry.
Okay, if someone had said this matchup would be between the division leader and a dumpster fire, I'd have flipped the teams.
Yeah, obviously.
Taking the Jabronis, hating myself.
I love calling them the Jabronis. This is going to be fantastic. Danny?
I'm taking the Jabs.
The Jabs, yes.
Taking a few jabs at the Washington professional football team, the DC Grudens, and the Jabronis.
I don't think the Cowboys are going to be able to do anything, and Washington is slightly not as terrible.
I want to talk real quick before we go to Tory topics. Patriots-Broncos, is that the most exciting game of the year so far? Just the way it ended in the snow.
Don't you love how every exciting NFL game just is all refs? Just refs.
And they're all in prime time
They're
somehow.
all in prime time.
Okay, yeah.
It's perfect.
Okay, you're getting a little Tim Donaghy on me. You're getting a little early 2000s NBA. I understand. We were watching the Kings play the Lakers at Woodstock's Pizza today.
Never forget.
Because NBA TV was trying to kill Tory while she was at work. All right, we're going to go to our last sponsor break. Before we do, thank you, Daniel Zarchi. Congratulations on your job and you being sworn in on Friday. Don't tell a lie.
Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll have you soon, buddy. Our last sponsor, of course, is Ken Keegan, local artist extraordinaire and baseball fan of the Mets. His art is on artwanted.com. You can search his name, Ken Keegan, Kenkeegan. I do a weekly search of his art. It's really good. Artwanted.com, Ken Keegan. Thank you to Ken. Tory, we have time for just a couple of topics, but I know you have
some of these.
You're going to plow through them like Woodstock's drivers or what?
Whoa.
Wow.
Hey, you used to have a list.
I used to have a list.
Now, how far down are you on that list?
We're not going to talk about that. Instead, we're going to talk about Dwayne Wade, who tweeted, "I slept with my basketball all night and woke up without a turnover."
Wait, he didn't roll over at all at night?
Yeah.
Or it's just like,
Well, it was after a game where he had too many turnovers and they
turnovers.
lost.
Oh, okay. So James Harden should have done this in the playoffs last year?
James Harden should always do this.
James Harden would sleep with the basketball, but he just keeps shooting it. Him and Josh Smith can't keep the ball on the bed.
He would, yeah.
It's like a hot potato.
Anecdote from ESPN's Tim McMahon. Rick Carlisle got heated when someone parked in his spot last year, wanted the car towed. It was Rondo.
I love it. Rajon Rondo, professional troll, never stop. I mean, earlier this year he said that he and George Karl had already gotten in 2 or 3 fights, and that was during training camp, and all the reporters ate it up. He had to later tell them that he was kidding because his delivery is so deadpan.
And so Rick puts the car in
And
Carlisle.
while he said that, he also was beating 15 children at Connect 4 at the same time.
There is a strategy to that game where you win every time. I haven't figured it out yet because I'm not very smart. But
It's just about how many...
You lose at Boggle.
Funnily enough, to a woman who can't spell, there is a girl at my job who is kind of smart. She cannot spell, and she beats me at Boggle every time.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
And she just sees the board, man.
Oh,
She's got
man,
that
like
board.
Sean Connery
like,
and scripts.
like court vision. She's got court vision.
So, Panthers cornerback Josh Norman on Falcons wide receiver Julio Jones?
Julio. Me and Julio down by the
because I always
schoolyard.
want to say Julio Jones for the alliteration.
No, it's Derek Bozo, sometimes contributor's favorite player. His song is Me and Julio down by the schoolyard.
So, he says, he completes me. Reminds me of preseason Derek Carr gushing about how...
So they're friends?
I guess.
Or they're enemies? I don't get it.
Frenemies.
I don't know. But it kind of reminded me of preseason Derek Carr gushing about how good-looking Amari Cooper was. On the field, he meant. But it was just like, Amari Cooper's just looking so good.
Are these your words coming out of Derek Carr's mouth?
I'm seeing a lot of puppeteering going on behind the scenes.
I just love my boy Amari.
All right, keep plowing.
Bruce Arians on his feelings towards the Rams. I'll have dinner with them, but I ain't liking them. I ain't drinking with them.
You have dinner with someone but not drink with them? Who doesn't drink with dinner? Who's over the age of 30 and doesn't drink with dinner?
Well, especially if you're going out to dinner with someone.
Yeah.
All right.
Double scotch, Bruce Arians.
Warm
Whoa.
fuzzies.
On the rocks.
Warm fuzzies. I'm
Never
filing
chill
this
whiskey.
under shut up. I'm not crying. You're crying. Rice Football's Luke Turner gets really emotional during a press conference after the Charlotte victory, tells the story of how he broke his leg senior year of high school and Rice was the only Division I school to give him an offer, credits all of his success to his great coach, David Bailiff. Manly tears ensue, hugs are given, hearts are warmed.
Wah.
Oh, wow.
It was just sweet watching this giant man just burst into tears during his press conference about how happy he was to have a
I prefer the
chance.
Mike Gundy. I'm a man. I'm 40. I don't cry. That's my quarterback. That's what I prefer from a football coach.
I prefer
the man weeping.
Well, no, they are who we thought they were.
Once again, that game happened on my birthday, and I didn't get to watch it.
So going back to Josh Norman,
Oh, man.
apparently every game he pretends to be a different movie character. Whether it's Maximus from Gladiator or Optimus Prime or Achilles or Batman, by putting on this persona, it helps him have a better advantage on the